Hello, this video where it's out. This time around, I'm going to talk about copying child table from a different document to a new one. And this question has been asked a number of times, and you can see it here in discourse.erpnext.com. And it says how to copy child table into new document with custom scripts. And you can see some solutions listed here, but a number of you may not know how to get started on kind of pulling child table information from one doc type to another. Okay, first off, I already have a system with so much data in it, sales data and some other items. But what I'm going to do is first add a custom app to this, because although we could have worked with custom scripts, that is adding custom scripts to the system, but at some point we'll write some APIs that will help or aid us in retrieving the data. So what I'm going to do is add a custom app to the system or to the site. You take a look at this, you observe that there is no custom app. You just have Erpnext 13 and Frappe Framework 13. Okay, it's easy to add a new app to the system. All you have to do is, okay, first off, to create new app, okay, I might have to zoom this so you can see it clearer. Okay, bench new app. I may just give it a name, custom app. Okay, it's gonna ask you for various information. I don't intend to okay, the app we install, and once installed, we also add it to the site. Okay, in my earlier videos, I showed you how to create custom app and install it, and that's what I'm doing right here. Just that here, I'm going to be very fast because I do not intend to show you how to create custom app from scratch. I only intend to show you how you can copy over data, something like this. Can copy over child table from here to a different document, pasting it into another document. Okay, the app has been stored, and if you ls apps, you're going to see it as custom app, and I'm going to add it to the site, ls sites. That shows this is the site I'm working with, data.test. To add it, we bench site data.test install app custom app. Okay, and you can migrate, although there is no data to migrate in it at the moment. I'm using skip filling because the existing database has some issues that may not migrate. So, but for production, you should make sure everything migrates successfully. Okay, here we go. We can check now. We should be able to see our custom app. Yeah, that's it right there. Okay, first off, I'm going to import our custom app into our editor. Go into our dev bench, atom docs. Yeah, and our custom app has been imported. All I need to do is go straight into this custom app, open the public folder. I'm going to drop my JavaScript here. The JavaScript I'm going to drop here has to do with the custom scripting that can be added to this doc type. Or custom script. We're going to create a custom script for sales invoice, but I do not intend to write it directly in sales invoice. Since it's on development, it's better I write it to my code editor. If it works well, we can bring it to drop it in here. but for the now, I'll do that in my code editor. I'm going to drop my JavaScript files in the public folder JS. I'm going to add a folder, call it doctypes, doctype, and in doctype, I have my file as sales invoice.js and paste this here. Then we can go straight into the hooks.py. This hooks.py we enable we kind of attach that JavaScript directly to the sales invoice document. Then we'll go straight into the hooks.py file, scroll down, look for doctype.js, this one. Okay, and the doctype is sales invoice, and the script is public.js/doctype /sales invoice.js. Okay, here we have it as public/js/doctype/sales invoice.js. And that's all for the now. First thing first is to be sure this is working. Once we open a sales invoice, I want to log the content of this sales invoice to the browser console. Save this. Since we added this, I might advise stopping the server, restart it again, go back to your browser and reload. Okay, the document has reloaded successfully, and here we have the document printed to us. We printed form.doc. So the item that will be printed will be doc information or the document information. And drag this out and you can take a look at this. We have 3 items here. Scroll down to items. You have 3 items. The first one is Perilon. Item Perilon. The second one is Safi Natural. Item Safi Natural, and the last one is Renew. Item Renew. Okay, so this is from here on we can proceed to kind of retrieving item from a different doc type. I'm going to use this other sorry, not a different doc type, a different document in the same doc type. All I have to do here is retrieve the entire items here, then add it automatically to these other items. That is copying items of a document from one doc type to another. You have different methods. You can add a button here, but first, for development sake, I'm going to kind of do it manually to bring everything. Later on, we can work on adding a button that you can select and kind of filter out the document name. Okay, we're done with that. And the first thing I'm going to do is try to pull this other document using the document name. And you can use the frappe.getDoc. Though it may not work on the browser, but it's actually frappe.getDoc. The name of the doc type sales invoice. Then the document name, that's the primary key. And you may end up getting document, but this cannot be used in the browser here. But that's not an issue. What we can do right now is kind of write an API. Okay, you can write an API, or you can also access the document directly from the browser. First, you can still, just like I did earlier, click on this version 13, and click on the name to copy. And once you've done that, you can come to this other documents, you can say doc with a sign frappe.db.getDoc sales invoice, the name of the sales invoice, and that's it. Okay, I have an issue with the spelling. Sales invoice is incorrect. The S should be uppercase S. sales invoice. Since my I is incorrect as well, my I is also incorrect. Sales invoice. Okay, now we got a data and fulfilled. Now if you look at the object and take a look at the items, we have 4 items here. The item 0 should be the item code is augmenting. We can check that to see that's it, augmenting. The next one is Peridion, Ada kits. I may not go into everything, but let's look at the second item. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, that's right, but I may just have to do this with an API directly. Okay, first I'm going to write an API, my custom app, app API.py. In it, I'm going to import Frappe. From Frappe, import this. May not need it now. So first, define get sales invoice. I'm taking a parameter. Okay, I may take, yeah, I'm going to take a parameter. I'm going to take a parameter. It should be name, the name of the invoice. Then we're going to retrieve that doc or try. So as not to receive error, doc is assigned frappe.db no frappe.get doc. Sales invoice and name else doc is assigned none. Can also throw frappe.throw throw. Doctype not found. Or you can throw this E, the content of E as well. Okay, then we end up returning the doc. But first, before returning it, I want to print this name to be sure the content. I want to leave a very huge gap here so that I can see what was printed on the terminal. I still have to zoom this terminal. Okay, that's fine. And next up is to use the frappe.db.core. Frappe.core. And please record to whitelist this at frappe.whitelists. My sales invoice. I may hard code it for the now, but should not be inside this refresh. Oh, okay, let me drop it in the refresh first. Frappe.core. Here should be custom app dot API dot get sales invoice. Then you have the arguments args. The argument is not a dictionary. I just have a single data as the argument. Okay, name This is fine. And console.log whatever that was returned. Okay, I'm okay with this for the now. All we have to do is call this method, pass this hard-coded document name. Later on, we make it dynamic. Then go into the backend, the API, get the data, print it here, and in the API, we send data, we'll pull the name out. First, I want to print the name to be sure we got it before running this. At first, if it does not run, you have to reload the server. Okay, the document has reloaded successfully. First, I'm going to check my terminal if anything printed, though I have not seen something print. Though I may have to restart my server, but from here I can see a document printed in my sales invoice, and here is the object printed and the name. And for name, you can see 4 items in it. The name is 156138. 156138. Okay, and here is where I want it to be printed into. So we're going to reload here as well to check, to be sure that it printed the document. Okay, now we see what is still printing is the what should I call it? The old code we wrote somewhere here. That's what printed. So all we have to do is kind of restart our server. Once you restart your server, you can reload your page. Okay, page reloaded successfully, and now our method is actually working. Now you see set invalid method, and you scroll through the whatever what was printed in our console. It says trace back. Then you read from bottom up, says frappe.exception, validation error, invalid method. Okay, that's not an issue. You can still check. Check up. So during handling of the above, syntax error, end of line. Here we have a print name. This, okay, this other slash should have been closed with an N. I actually want more lines added so that when the content is printed or data is printed, to give a huge gap here so we can see it. Okay, and I'm going to correct that in my API to drop this N here. Let's save. Can refresh, it may refresh, and if it does not refresh properly, if the error still comes up, you can restart your server. Okay, successfully reloaded, and you see data printed to the screen, the sales invoice, and at the same time check the browser. Now you see the about 5 lines or so was skipped. The invoice was collected successfully, the name and the content was printed to the screen. We are more concerned about the items. Now you can see the items, 4 items. Recall. Here is the document with name 1538, and the content, you have 4 items here, augmenting peridot, and you can also check it. This first one should be augmenting, item codes augmenting. Okay, that's it. Now we are getting into something very interesting. And how about getting the content printed? Recall it's a message. Just getting this content added directly here. Well, to get the content, we're no longer interested here. What I'm interested in is this content. The actual data is in, we have to say, type let items is assigned r.message.items. And we have a tool called Frappe add child. The two is in forms. Frappe.add child should be at the very bottom. Yeah. It helps to add a row with values to a table field. And here is how to use it. Form.add child items. Then you fill in the item in a dictionary or an object method. At the end of the day, you refresh the field, the table field. And I'm going to use that straight in here. Write a comment at retrieved items. Okay, first off, I'm going to look through these items first. Let me console this item first. Log into the browser. Items. Since the content did not refresh properly, though can't tell why, but I would not want to keep restarting my server each time I change JavaScript, but I have no choice now than to do it. I'm in development and anything could happen. Okay, correct. The 4 items are correctly printed. And this is just all I need. Okay, I'm going to proceed. First, I have to comment this because this code is going to get long at some point. Frappe or start. And just adding a comment block. Okay, since we've talked about check this form.add child, we are going to make use of it right now in our codes. Now I'm going to write form.add child. Recall, we are not going to keep using it in a refresh. We are writing a test for the now. Once we are done, we can kind of write it outside as a function outside. Okay. Form.add child. Now we look through this first. Items dot for each. And inside I'm gonna have item and function. Not this item. Then each time we look through this, we go into the items. Then I'm gonna add it form.add child. Where are you going to add the child to? Into items. Items is the child table, what we are dealing with. This is items, this child table. Items, then the dictionary content you intend to add, something like this. And that should be your item. Okay, let me go over this again. This complete list here, arrays. Look at this, is square bracket is an array. When you look through it using this for each, items of for each, the code goes through this array or list. Each time it goes through, it picks this object in curly brace. And this is why you see 01 is the indexing of each of the objects. Now each of the object is what is a dictionary, or okay, we in Python call it dictionary. This an object is in curly brace and it looks similar to this. Not similar, is the same. You see what we have here. is an object, it has an item name, quantity. Then recall that we are in sales invoice, meaning that they match, they have similar structure, data structure. Mean that our code will have no issues kind of in trying to match the items. So each time we scroll through, we pick each of those items, come to this items table, use this form.add to add it. And once we are done looping through this, we're going to refresh the form.refresh field. And the field I intend to refresh is what? The items. So we're going to save this. Please take note of what we have here. We have just 3 items. If this does not refresh properly, we may have to stop our server and start again. Okay, it seems not to work. I have to stop my server, start again. Please take note of these 3 items. Okay, our page has reloaded completely and you see the update button is showing because something must have happened. Now you see the 3 items added and you may ask why the barcode did not show up. If you check through it, there is no barcode for the items. You see the augmenting with each of their prices. You see this price 4360190, 1050, and you can check through here. You see it's 4360190, 1050 and 1750. That is the value for the last one. Now you see it and you can update this and you see though this item has been submitted, so ignore the error message. If it was draft, you can just update the item. But now you see how you can copy it, but we are going to just hard code our document. We should be able to write it such that you have a button that you can click to, okay, fetch items from a different document, and it should kind of make you select or ask you to select the document or filter the name. You click on that, it goes there, fetch the document and update it for you. How about that? That should be very nice, right? Okay, we're gonna do that right now. We have a tool called the Frappe dialog under forms and dialog API. I showed you this API in the earlier videos, and we're going to make use of this first one, dialog, create new dialog. We're going to use it first. We have to test that straight in the browser. Play. Let's reload this. Okay, drop this. I'm going to get rid of some of these fields. Get rid of this age. Get rid of the last name. I only want one. This label should be sales invoice. The field name should be invoice. Field type is link. Then you can add one more option. Call it options, and the value should be sales invoice. Okay, might have to copy this and paste it somewhere clean. Paste it under here. Okay, label, field name, field type link, options, sales invoice, and that's all. I'm gonna click fetch. Okay, the title should be fetch invoice items. Comment this out. I'm going to test run it straight into our browser. Okay, to show this on the screen, we use d.show. Wow. Okay, sales invoice. Now we have the fetch invoice as the title, fetch invoice items. Then the sales invoice is this field here we used. And recall I said the field type should be link and option should be sales invoice. So it's going to go into sales invoice to pick the items. And whichever one I pick, okay, I pick this invoice. And fetch is the button name. I wrote it here, primary action. And once you fetch, it's gonna print it for you. You see it here, invoice and the invoice name. Okay, that's exactly what you have done. And once that is done, I have to write this as a kind of long code. I'm going to grab this completely. Though you can write this as a mini function, then call it in, but I'm not interested in optimization at the moment. I'm interested in showing you how to get the data. Okay, just paste it after this console.log values. The values was printed as invoice, and this I might have to change the values to name since I called my code name. Then I might have to change this to name. Okay, then I pass values to these arguments values. But once it goes, it picks whichever invoice I choose, goes into the system, bring it out, then use the data to update. But that's not all. We have to add a button here that we can use to select. But for the now, I'm gonna copy everything here and test it on the browser. Okay, the documents has been submitted, so it's gonna be difficult to edit or delete an item from it because it's a submitted document. But that's not an issue. We can work with this still. Clear. Hope there is no error. There's error, we have to correct it. d.show. We have 7 items, recall or remember. So I'm going to select at random 155563 155563. I want to see the content. Okay, 3 item clothing now. Not okay. This why we have this is because of the previous code. That is why these 4 items were added to, but that's not an issue. We'll get rid of that soon. So we have these 3 items: clothing now, Cipro tab, Medcan. And recall you can search in here. You can search for a particular document in sales invoice. I'm going to use this one, 155563. should be the last. System is a bit slow. Okay, fetch. And seems to experience some kind of error, but we should be able to fix it anyway. Okay, this was printed as name and the invoice name. I'm going to check the terminal as well if there's error. Okay, this worked fine successfully. Okay, it says reference error, form is not defined. Yeah, form is not defined. Yeah, we're going to experience this anyway because we executed these codes and we called form here, and form is not defined anywhere in between this. So we might have to, although we might have to try to save this directly into this code. Another method could be copying this entire thing and drop it inside here. Okay, just restarted the server, trying to check some other things. We still add buttons. We still have to add a custom button to the script. So I want to make sure that works before we add the custom button and end up cleaning up our codes. Hello, please recall we did not add form.show to it. So that at the end of it all, the form will show. So I have to test this on the browser. If it does not work, just kind of refresh. And while the browser loads, we are going to explore the add button documentation. Okay, this is how to add button. Add a custom button in the inner toolbar of the page, and all you have to do is to use this code form.add_button, the name of the button, then a method that should be executed immediately the button is clicked on. Or like this frappe.setTrash will take you to a different document. Then you can also write it this way: frappe.add custom button, the name of the button, a method that should be executed immediately that button is clicked, and here this one is for button group. How do I explain button group? Okay, I might have to close this. The button group is more like this. You have different information there. That's what a button group is. This get item from is also what a button group. Okay, that's what a button group is. So I may just add an extra button group here as well. Okay, just reloaded my page, and now you see this shows us automatically I did not execute anything from the browser. And I want to select that item 15563, which is what we have in 15563, and the items are, please forget about this, this was automatically added. And if I reload this now, this should no longer add, just like the page. Okay, I'm going to select it, fetch item. If any error, we should get an error message at the bottom. Okay, 155682. Let's see what was added to it. On core type error, cannot set property content of undefined. I don't know where this came from. Anyway, it should be different. Maybe it's this a click event. But let's see where this come from. 63 Clover Cipota Metcam. Okay, since our code did not execute properly, although we have a print here, we can also check our browser. We see this also executed successfully. So something actually went wrong somewhere, but we might have to check to see what the issue is. Okay, although it seems it's added because we can see this not save update, but something seems not quite right, or the page is not kind of really updating. I'm going to check to know what the issue is. Okay, recall that this code executed inside the refresh method, which is a bad idea, because once this page loads, we get the refresh and something may end up colliding. But we can test that directly in this browser by using call form dot refresh. This refresh and calls that method, I believe. Yeah, calls the method. I'm going to select that same invoice. Recall we have 4 items here already. The last item here is Metcam fluconazole. I'm going to click fetch and let's see. Now you see the other items were fetched: Clovina, Ciprotab, and Metcam, Metcam. Okay, and in fact, if you look here, you see there's repetition of values: Metcam fluconazole, Ciprotab, Ciprofloxacin. We can also check it: Metcam fluconazole, Ciprofloxacin. Yeah, it's just 3 items. This 1, 2, 3: Clovina, Ciprotab, and this. That's what we have. And if you also look here, the item already automatically was added. So our code is working properly. There's no issue with the code. When we want to refresh this, go back and refactor this code entirely. I don't want this code executing every time this page loads. At the same time, I want to add a custom button as well. First off, I'm going to grab this entire code out of this place. Ctrl X. Okay, we're going to quickly write the function out here, and the function should be inside the setup. Now, once the form is created, the methods can be created automatically. Add your command. Okay, name it form dot get sales invoice. items. The name is looking too long. Is assign function. You can use function. You can also use this. Whichever suits you, you use. Yeah, pasted what I copied. This should be enough for the now. What about this? Yeah, the function. End function. Start function. Then that is one problem solved. The next issue is to add the add button, add click button. Can use this second add custom button. You can always add this during the form setup or during refresh. You can add it during form setup or during refresh, but I prefer to add it during refresh so that once the form refresh, it will reset. From the add custom button, I'll give it name fetch. But I may have to add this custom button to this button. Not this button. Close this. There are some buttons here. Create subscription. I'm going to duplicate this. Duplicate and save. Okay, now we have a draft document with just an item. Yeah, that's good. Now I have duplicated this. You can find this other button. You have this button as a get items from. Now I'm going to add it to this get items from. That should be better. This should be get items from. Okay, the last F is uppercase get items from. Then the button is fetch. Let's see how sales get items from sales invoice. So the name will be sales invoice. Yes. Execute fetch method. Okay, now it's time to execute this method. Form dot this, and it takes what? Form. And did it take any parameter? Okay, did not take any parameter because form is already in here and scored, so there's no need to take any parameter. Save. Time to stop my server and restart. Okay, finally we are ready to test. Let's look at our code once more. We initialized our form, did a setup, and in the setup we created a function, and in the function we have this dialog. And inside the dialog we just created a field that enables us to fetch data. And inside the data we have a frappe.call that calls an API method we define in the system. And with that, once data is retrieved, we kind of add it to the system. Then we show and hide. Then once the page refresh, we kind of plug this button straight into the document type. Now I'm going to refresh my page. Okay, my page has been refreshed, and recall I have a draft invoice with how many items? Just a single item. And we added the budget to this get items from. You check very well, you see it's get items from. That's where we added the budget to. If I click on it, the name is sales invoice, and we have sales invoice at the top. You click and you see it's exactly fetch invoice items. You can search for invoice by name or number. Okay, so I'm going to fetch any invoice. Okay, I'm going to fetch this, see what happens. Now you see the content was added to our system. Okay, let me fetch this one. We already have item in. I have not refreshed this page. Actually, this page should just contain 3 items. Let me grab the number. Okay, I refresh the page and you can see we just have 3 items here. I've grabbed the item number already. I can use this sales invoice, paste the invoice number, click on it, fetch, and we should have those 3 items. See them added. And once you save this, your invoice should recompute, I believe. Should add up everything here. This is 8,000, 8,000, 8,000, 3,000 to this is 5,000. Kind of add this up is 900. Should get 9,000. Yeah, we computed and everything is working successfully. I hope you kind of understand what went on here. We went from scratch, from retrieving invoices to using the API to setting the items, and at the same time adding buttons. I hope you really learned a lot. Please do subscribe so that you can get new videos when it comes out. Once more, thanks for watching.